FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was the largest donor to the Democrat Party, second to George Soros, for the spurious 2022 midterms. Nearly $40 million, which reportedly came from crypto donations to Ukraine. FTX was partnered with the World Economic Forum as one of Klaus Schwab's stakeholders. FTX's founder reportedly used a secret backdoor to steal over $1 billion from the customers of the now defunct cryptocurrency exchange. But there's more to the story than Sam Bankman-Fried and a money laundering slush fund for the failing Democrat Party. The CEO for FTX was Caroline Ellison, whose father is Glenn Ellison, head of the MIT Economics Department. Glenn Ellison hired Gary Gensler to head the cryptocurrency department at MIT in 2018. And in 2021, the Biden administration nominated Gary Gensler as the chair of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, who has been laser-focused on gaining control of cryptocurrency. While the SEC has been routinely combative towards cryptos, they have treated FTX like family, causing many to argue that FTX was being groomed and set up by the SEC to monopolize the crypto market.
FTX was an exchange that had a bright sheen on it. It was led by a CEO that was often on Capitol Hill and being photographed with regulators and lawmakers. And so there was this sense that the exchange was very buttoned up.
Cryptocurrency has the potential to strip power from the central banking system, and that makes it a major threat. As this story unfolds, don't be surprised if this mess becomes the catalyst for government overreach into cryptocurrencies.
The Journal reporting the CEO allegedly using customer money from FTX to fund risky bets at his other company, a hedge fund called Alameda.
Many people believe that this will definitely set back the crypto industry for years.
You know, this is a tale as old as time to some degree. Some young, charismatic guy in Bermuda shorts with the floppy hair charmed the 20 best investors in the world.
Rebecca, the big question here, was this a mistake by the founders or a crime?
Well, that's a question the regulators will ultimately have to answer here.
Eric, it's good to see you. So you didn't have any investments in FTX or anything affiliated, correct? But you do have some crypto investments. Does it make you think twice about them?
But hi, Sarah. We have crypto investments, but they're on the infrastructure. We never invested in exchanges or coins or or protocols. And you know what's happening this week is very serious because it has the potential of contamination pretty much throughout the ecosystem. The total value of crypto assets just this week fell by about $150 billion. The entire crypto world now is worth less than $1 trillion when it was worth $3 trillion at the end of 2021. And so there are serious questions, and it really the main question is, can the trading market in crypto survive without regulation?
Without regulation.
So the best way that I can describe this, and I've been following it meticulously for several days, through the carnage of last week, and also then the bankruptcy filing of FTX on Friday, and then all the looting of $600+ million worth of funds through some kind of seeming hack of some kind that happened to FTX, and then also the crypto.com issues that have, they've come to the surface today that we're going to talk about as well. I've covered this extensively in my own work, and I've researched it, and the big picture is that, in my opinion, this is the crypto 9/11. It's the crypto 9/11 in the sense that it is a kind of controlled demolition that was engineered to bring about a new kind of police state overlay or a regulatory overlay onto the crypto space to seize control and to take away freedom from the people. So if you want to know the overall theme tonight, that's it. This is the crypto 9/11 that has just been initiated. The thing is, the buildings are still falling. Okay, so the carnage is not anywhere near over, and Building 7 hasn't even come down yet, but it's about to. You're going to see that in the coming week, I believe, with more of the centralized crypto exchanges are going to suffer massive liquidity problems, and some may fail in the next week to 2 weeks. But that's all by design. So this engineered collapse, again, is designed to then enslave you, to trap you into a system of central bank digital currencies or extremely heavy government regulation. So right now we're actually looking at kind of a war that's taking place. On one side, you have the honest crypto universe of people that are trying to solve transactional problems and trying to solve the problems of decentralized money and rapid transactions and international transactions. And a lot of people in the crypto space have done a great job of solving those technical problems. For example, the entire SWIFT system is so outdated. It's a joke compared to something like Ripple or XRP, for that matter. I mean, Ripple has solved a lot of these problems on a large scale, on a global scale. But the government does not want, or the central banks in particular, do not want standalone crypto. They don't want unregulated crypto. They do not want decentralization. Obviously, they want everything to be centralized. So they have been able to jump into this to cause a controlled demolition and also to expose the bad faith players and the hucksters that do exist in the crypto space, even though obviously that's not everybody, but there are those players. And they're getting caught with their pants down as the tide goes out right now. And in fact, the liquidity crisis that has struck the crypto ecosystem is about to get a whole lot worse. And you're going to see many examples of this in the days ahead. As I said, money that was donated to Democrats, because FTX donated $40 million to Democrats, or very nearly so, in this last election cycle here. The one we just, well, the one that's still going because they're still in the process of stealing the election. But $40 million from FTX was part of that. So I asked the question earlier, said, hey, are any of these Democrats going to give back these ill-gotten gains, these donations that were essentially funds stolen from users of FTX? And the answer, of course, is no. Why would they ever give back anything, right? They're not going to give back anything. And I want to point out the two things that we've all learned in the last week or so is, number one, the voting machines, the way they're used, it still allows elections to be rigged, obviously. The ballot harvesting, the ballot stuffing, but the fact that the machines exist allows them to claim, oh, machine errors and, you know, ballot scanning errors and all these things. So that allows them to delay. So the machines allow, that's number one. Number two, there are sectors of the crypto industry, i.e. FTX, that have since collapsed, that were also rigged, and FTX functioned as a slush fund, you know, to funnel this money. So rigging these elections, obviously through multiple vectors, rigging the actual vote counting, the way the machines were operated, but also rigging the slush fund donations, some of which were actually funneled through Ukraine donations. So the United States of America would authorize billions of dollars to be sent to Ukraine, and then FTX, this was actually widely announced on the crypto news publication websites, FTX would handle those donations, they would take those donations, and then some amount of that money was then funneled right back to the United States. So if you wonder why was Joe Biden always in a hurry to sign more, you know, stimulus money for Ukraine, it was because they desperately needed to try to control the House and the Senate in this election. So if you donated to Ukraine, or you thought you did, some of that money may have actually been donated to John Fetterman, that frankly aren't even qualified to serve in the United States Senate in any way whatsoever. And in Fetterman's case, because of his unfortunate stroke and his lack of cognitive function, where he needs to step back and heal and not try to represent the American people in the United States Senate. So the scams upon scams upon scams are now coming to light. And this has only just begun. But the contagion effect of what has just been set into motion is going to be absolutely enormous. And by the time this is all said and done, in my opinion, many of the current crypto exchanges are going to go bankrupt. And there might only be a few left standing, such as Binance, for example. And in that case, then we would see a centralization of control over the crypto exchanges, which runs counter to the very philosophy of cryptocurrency, which is supposed to be decentralization, right? Supposed to have power in the hands of a large number of smaller players, you know, peer-to-peer type of decision-making, consensus among a large number of nodes, not dictates from just a few remaining centralized exchanges. which can then be easily regulated by government regulators such as the SEC, which, by the way, in my opinion, stood by and did nothing, allowing this FTX situation to fester into the collapse that has now occurred. Because again, this is the crypto 9/11. It's the crypto 9/11. This was allowed to happen. This was engineered to happen in order to bring it down, to cause the panic, to bring in regulation, and also clear out the small guys in the industry. And this has a lot of parallels if you think about it. When we were told that most businesses were not necessary, were not important for society, but the larger players like the Walmarts and the Targets and large grocery chains were allowed to exist. The smaller players got wiped out. Well, that means then the government can come in and influence or regulate the few remaining retailers and give them dominant control over the marketplace. And that's exactly what happened. So this is what's happening in crypto right now. I and a lot of others, we warned that this day was coming.